Hi everyone, my name is Paul. I'm just going to walk you through the Canadian manufacturing sales trends for January 2016. This presentation is just one perspective. I'll take quotes from businesses, I'll talk a little bit of detail on policy, and just give you an overall flavor of what's happening with manufacturing. Here's a little bit about me. I'm a CPA CGA background. I've got 25 years in academia, industry, and financial solutions. I actually have my own YouTube channel as well. My agenda will be, I'll talk in summary, I'll talk sales by sector, so I'll talk about sales by provinces. I'll give you some key quotes from stakeholders, whether it's the banks or business networks, to give you a little overview of what's going on. In general, we had a very strong month of January. Now, let's temper that results. We still see a lot of pressure in sectors like oil and gas, the resource sector. However, what's carrying the momentum is probably three key sectors. Forestry, because the strong housing starts in the US as well as Canada. Food processing, which is really growing very significantly. And automotive production, that we're seeing record levels back to where we were in the 90s. So those are the key drivers to do this. There's some other sectors that are going to see some up and down swings, like aerospace and that. You'll see that come out too as well. But in general, the provinces that rely mostly on manufacturing, which are Quebec and Ontario, have seen significant improvements in terms of their manufacturing sales year over year. What's the implication here? Well, there's a couple things in play here. The oil gas sector is still struggling. There's a lot of factors in play there. In Canada's case, there's a whole bunch of issues around capacity moving product to market, which will come out in further along with this presentation when I discuss government policies. But in general, the lower loonie has actually helped exports. It makes exports cheaper, but on the inverse side, it's actually made imports more expensive, and that's what you're seeing with food pricing and stuff like that when we look at the core cost of inflation as well. So this is kind of giving you an idea, but really what the key drivers are. Automotive is what's driving Ontario. In Quebec's particular case, it's basically transportation, food processing area that's driving Quebec. If you look here year over year, Ontario and Quebec are up significantly year over year. The two provinces that have struggled are actually down are basically Nova Scotia and basically Alberta. We're seeing significant downturn there. But Saskatchewan, which is an interesting trend, which has a diverse economy but does rely on resources, has seen uptick. And that's a good understanding of one provinces that kind of understands that you have to have diversified economy but also have the right policies in play to expand the economy. I did this chart to show you in terms of key sectors. Transportation, and if you get into Manitoba, you've got significant transportation in the bus area. Like New Flyer Industries has done quite well as in Ontario's case, the automotive production cycle. You've seen that as well. So that's the key thing to drive here. And one of the things you're seeing, there's a huge investment in public transit systems across North America, which is going to help the transportation sector and buses, rail cars, and all that impact areas up in Thunder Bay as well as out down south of the border as well in transportation. This just gives you an overview by major sectors. You can take a look at this to see where up. 16 of the 21 key areas are up month over month, which is a good significant indicator. Look at the key quotes, right? So this is basically telling you 80% of the manufacturing sectors were up in January. We've seen a low Canadian dollar help boost exports because it makes things cheaper, but it's also driven by a growing consumer marketplace in the US as well. This is what you're seeing here in terms of the overall trend. You're also seeing, as I mentioned earlier, about automotive shipments. What's next? Well, a couple things in play. You have federal budget that's due out. You have some provincial budgets that come out. Depending on the policies that are in there, there's talk about a carbon taxation policy. There's also talk about relooking at environmental assessment. This is all going to drive foreign direct investment. It's also going to drive exports, because exports is a key driver. Canada is an export-driven country. Therefore, it needs to have that capacity to expand its goods to market, and that's something you have to watch in. Currency, we're in an era, as I mentioned in previous presentation, of low currency Canadian dollar. We're not going to see an uptick to that. The other area we're going to see low growth, global growth numbers. China's still struggling, and you're going to see other countries as well struggle a bit, and that's all part of the overall change of demographics and just the global shift that we're going through a period of lower growth. This presentation was designed to give you a quick overview basic of policies to kind of understand what's going on in manufacturing, understand as you look forward in terms of the economy or planning your sales cycle, you understand what's going on in the marketplace. Thank you.